Good morning, everybody. It's Matt here, and welcome to Each Beautiful Day. Let's go and say good morning. What do you mean, oh no?
I dropped my cord for my phone.
Well, that happens, doesn't it,
but,
unfortunately?
You know, it's just, it's a new house and everything's...
Good morning, miss.
It's overwhelming, guys. I'm still not used to my place. I've been here, what?
Just over 2 weeks. Just over 2 weeks. And you've been through your first storm, even though I rate you as a Category Cyclone 5 storm yourself, Miss Cyclone Dyan.
Yeah, just look at the art video.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know, I do my best.
Indeed. And this morning, you managed to do your best by sleeping through a power outage that was scheduled. That was really good.
You kind of made that happen,
I
sir.
did.
So
That's a good management technique, because if she was here and awake,
without my coffee,
it would have been a drama.
So guys, get
so
this.
We went to bed later to sleep in.
You guys that aren't autistic and you like your coffee, well, you try an autistic that loves their coffee. It's a double whammy because that's a routine.
Yeah, and routines.
So there's certain steps when I wake up, and that is step number 2 or 3. I can't quite remember, but step 2 or 3. If that couldn't have happened, not happy.
I think step number 1, unfortunately, is me throwing a lot of medications down your neck.
That's
now, for those who are new to the channel, welcome, okay? Please don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can see our content as it drops.
Us, they might not like
us.
us.
They don't like us. Absolutely.
No,
what else are you here
not.
for? If not, bye-bye. It's okay. You can come past.
Something like that.
Now, if you don't know us, Dyan has this condition called 22q11.2 Deletion Syndrome. It's a chromosomal disorder. It's the causation for over 180 plus different things that affect her body. Autism, ADHD, OCD, Tourette's, seizures, you name it, autoimmune dysfunction. Oh my God, you have got so many things going on, my little...
I was born this way.
My little bunny. You are. But that's part of the conversation this morning. We're going to have a sit down and chat.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd set the scene because if you don't understand, Dyan has got disabilities that she's been dealing with, along with things like ME/CFS, myalgic encephalitis, absolutely autoimmune related, Ehlers-Danlos, hypermobility, things, joints go out left, right, and centre. Tourette's, she just sparks off like a dynamite. You're like dynamite, you are.
I know. When you list it like that, it sounds awful. When you're living with it, it's still awful, but it's just... Wow, that just sounds like a lot.
It is a lot, but it's what we deal with.
But it's what we deal with every day.
I'm Dyan's husband, partner of over 33 years.
Every day, a different symptom of my 22q, because I consider my diagnoses all symptoms of 22q, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely, I agree with that too.
Every day can be different.
Yeah.
A different problem every day. Just like you people who aren't disabled have a different problem every day.
Indeed. And that's part of that conversation because all of that has an impact on you. So let's have a sit down and chat. I'll caught you mid-yawn.
He goes, "You ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like... And then I just yawned.
Indeed, but you actually...
My interoception took me a while to register that, I'm yawning, the recorder is about to press record. And that... It's too much.
It is. Well, you just said I'm off. I'm thinking, what am I off? Off centre.
Off centre.
It's okay.
You know, like you're on the edge there. See where he is? I've got lots of space. He's on the edge.
You're very small. There's a perspective thing.
You're a man.
Maybe I'm closer to the camera than you.
I have 22q.
22q actually does make you small.
Like my grandfather said, good things come in small packages.
I have always said the same thing as well. It's actually been a lot easier having you small. It's easy to lift you up and carry you when I need to. How's that sound?
Good thing, bad thing, joking and rhyme. Don't you love a good rhyme? I couldn't do it at school on the spot, but I just did that thing.
That would be the dyslexia side of things, yeah.
Is it?
I think so. This actually would be quite hard with flipping
you know
things
what?
around.
When you have dyslexia, you have this weird thing. You know all those words that you have to, that if you actually said it phonetically, it would sound stupid, like Wednesday. But whenever I look at the word Wednesday or hear the word Wednesday, that's what I'm saying in my head because I have dyslexia. Yeah. Wednesday.
Breaking it down into its chunks.
Wednesday. But what really annoys me, English language, I've got an issue with you. Okay? You can talk about like butt, cut, nut, and then you come to P, it's put. How did the U become a U?
Unless you're playing golf, then it's pat. Okay. But then you need 2 T's for that anyway.
Then you need 2 T's. So, not the same thing. So see what I mean? You need the 2 T's. That at least can give me a hint.
Okay. The English language is full of rules that don't make sense. And I'm sure you agree with that. Lots of examples. I after E, except after C, and 26 variations that let's not talk about those.
Lots of exceptions to that rule.
Well, you've got exceptions to your rules as well.
What's the point in it being a rule if the exemption list is literally an A4 piece of paper?
Let's call it a guide. It's
English is stupid.
You know, aim towards this way.
English
if you get
is
it right,
stupid.
You'll be okay.
I apologise if you've had to learn English. It is really stupid.
Yeah, it's not actually the easiest language to learn either.
No.
It's the first language anyway.
Glad I was born with it because it's stupid.
Yes, indeed. Our conversation today, though, is a little bit more serious than our starting point. And now we go bring it back into that mood and somber.
It is serious, actually.
It is serious, and I want to take note of that. And I started the conversation with disabilities because you're right.
It's Wednesday, by the way.
You've been disabled your entire life with a lot of things. I mean, you're born with a condition.
22q is a syndrome.
In fact, you are lucky to get through pregnancy. Really,
lucky to get through pregnancy. Lucky to be born and stay alive.
Bingo. That's
get out of hospital.
Trouble period.
And lucky to get past 3.
Yeah, the first 3 years of age, and even to get up to you. And you're about to turn 50, and that's part of the conversation as well.
Yes.
I was looking at new research only a couple of days ago, and the average lifespan, is about 45 for people with your condition. Okay, so it's reduced. It shows a significant impact of the risks. What's the risks associated to it? From cardiovascular, primarily is one of the first things. There's so many neurological things. Bad healthcare. Not understanding it. It's considered still a new and emerging.
It's just as common as Down syndrome. Yeah. Yet we don't get any acknowledgement.
Yeah. Well, the research dollars
have been spent on it. In the research and in the treatment.
Yeah. And I'm seeing a lot more people try and find out more. And they're starting to unravel the puzzle. There's a bit of a puzzle piece. And that's the thing with genetics, genomes. As they start to map and go, this condition causes this.
Well, it's a bit like seizures, That's like 12 years ago, and that was such an argument with the health sector. Yet I have the 2 genes in my mix that they have now said for genetic seizures because genetic seizures, obviously they're looking at the genes to prove the seizures and show you which are the numbers, and like a list of numbers and letters. And I've got both of them, so it's like you could have just done that test instead of doing an EEG, which is only 20% accurate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Science is stupid.
Science is only slowly
science is wonderful,
up.
But it's a guide. Yeah. It is not an absolute.
A bit like the English language.
Please listen to your patient.
There's exceptions.
Okay, science is bloody stupid to rely on and ignore the person.
I think with the English language, there's outliers, and I feel that
There's not outliers. It is not 100% a scientific test.
Sure, but what I'm going to say is when you're looking at the norm, the normal population and the standard deviations away from that midline of what we accept as being normal population. You're an exception to the rule. And this is rare diseases. You have multiple rare conditions or disease. Okay. But when you have rare diseases, it becomes so much more complex for you.
Rare syndromes and rare diseases.
To manage in society because you're not considered neurotypical or normalised as far as dealing with all these conditions.
I don't even express it normally.
No. But the reason I wanted to have this conversation today is we are about to turn over into things like Mother's Day, a very significant event each and every year. Birthday. For you, it's your 50th, which is an incredible milestone. It's a half a century not out. And when you come to talking about conditions such as 22q, being not out, I'm using a cricket analogy here,
it should be
it's pretty damn friggin' amazing. And it's a lot of hard work to achieve that.
I wish it was really happy for
others who should be around us. Yeah. But there's a drop-off that occurs when you have chronic, and chronic is long-term, okay? Acute is in the moment, but chronic is long-term. Well, you've had chronic conditions your entire life that you've been having to deal with.
I've been sick since I can remember. Yeah. I had Skeeter syndrome.
Which is an immune functional reaction.
Which is real severe swelling from mosquito bites. And I had a lot of, hospital trips, doctor trips, just pain, suffering for days, weeks, months at a time, and I've just always been a sick kid. Yeah. And then it just didn't stop.
Well, in and out of hospital, you've probably spent more time at a hospital than you have in many other places
at concerts,
possible.
pubs, clubs.
What are they?
Fun events, parties, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, in particular, I guess
So
over
it's
the
always
last
too
decade.
sick to attend.
Bingo. But that also has a consequence. When you
Socially, a major
can't do
consequence.
the normalised socialising,
people don't like you.
Don't like it because
they assume you don't like them.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what they think, because they look at me and they go, "But you're normal and healthy."
Yeah, and that must be really
Never
hard for you to, I guess, first of all, absorb, take on board, accept, understand,
Well,
and
number
work
one,
with.
I love parties if I know everyone, because autistically
important.
I can function.
Yep.
I can handle the environment
Yep.
and all the senses and all of the people because I know them.
If you know
But
them.
sadly, if I don't know them, I can't be that for people.
Yeah.
And it's not fair, 100%, but it's also not something I can change because I'm autistic.
Yeah, and that goes both ways. It's not just knowing them, but for them to also know you,
Correct.
which helps you because then it understands your communication
Yeah,
style, your
because if they start
quirkiness
talking
or
to me like I
behaviours.
am not an autistic,
Yep.
and they start talking to me in ways that I can't understand, comprehend, manage,
Yeah.
navigate, it's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing because you don't get seen, like I've said before on many podcasts particularly, you don't get seen as a doing well autistic. You get seen as a poor performing neurotypical, or a lazy, or
okay, I get you.
a person who's a neurotypical that's just
not functioning
stupid.
to the level that
Just
you should
stupid.
be or expected to. But there's a lot of assumptions. And physically, or I guess visually, when someone looks at you,
I look like a social butterfly.
You do, you
But
know,
I'm not.
you dress up,
I can
you
be,
look very
though.
pretty,
I can be
wear
a
nice
social
clothes,
butterfly. I love social things.
you're
with
chirpy,
certain people.
full of exuberance.
Mhm.
But that belies, I guess, what's underneath.
It depends
that,
on who's around
the
me.
masking that goes with having to perform socially, not
How they
understanding
treat me.
social interactions and the communication styles, but dealing
Yeah.
with stress and anxiety of
Big
meeting new
differences.
people or new environments. You've got all of these things. I'm
All
looking
the
around because you've got
senses.
all these senses. It's the lights, or the temperature as you go past, or a sound that pops up, or a smell that just suddenly wafts through. You know, a touch or someone's close proximity. All of these things.
Well, just I don't know. Like, every environment comes with like a different culture.
Yeah.
And I don't always know the culture.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do in this situation?
Wow.
It's like stepping into a different country when I go to
It's like one of those.
something
It's like one of those
different.
sci-fi movies, you know.
It's a bit trippy.
A bit like Star Trek. You're going off to
You go
new
offline
cultures or new planets,
mentally.
and you're meeting new things. And every time
Yeah.
you're having to go, right, I need to
We're
scan
aliens.
the atmosphere to see, can I survive here, and what do I need
How
to
do
wear
I
my
navigate
biosuit, and how do I
here?
know? There's a good analogy between that, I guess,
That's how it feels.
for people out there to understand your challenges. But I wanted people to
And
understand.
it's a bit like people don't realise too that autistics experience everything 1,000 more times.
Intensely.
Each time to your one time. So, you know, people say to me in the past, I'll pick the most severe because this is what happens. When you get left out, and that's a very common one for autistics like myself, is exclusion. And exclusion is a form of bullying, actually, guys. So never forget that.
It's rejection.
But at the same time, I'm using this worst case one because a lot of us get this. So we get excluded a lot, and to your exclusion of once, and that hurts you, and you may struggle with that. Some may not, but most people do, because in psychology it is a very natural reaction, because rejection is a severe one, because it goes against the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Again, it triggers that fight and flight system. It's natural for it to do. If it doesn't do so, you might want to be careful, because you might be stepping into the narcissism or the sociopathy area of life. You want to feel. You should be feeling something.
The feels.
But basically, we feel that we experience, those things 1,000 more times per one time. Because autistics are not, and I know most of you probably watching this channel are more either supporting an autistic and you get autism, or you are autistic and you have people that support you. But let's not forget, there's a lot more people that don't like us, support us.
Yeah, would see you as awkward or different, don't want to be around you,
exclusion.
make fun of,
they don't even notice the exclusion.
But I was thinking while you were saying that, and I think there's an aspect where, because a lot of autistics don't have a large social fear, so one, it's very reduced anyway. So it's amplified when you are rejected, because you don't have as much fallback as other alternatives or choices to things to fulfill those gaps. Canon from
you know, even if you respond really extra sensitive to someone who's just experienced a negative thing like that. So you could, for example, she was using the softball. You could use a real softball, hit you once, it really hurts, right? So you try and soften it for the autistic so that they can, you know, build that resilience. You give them a soft foam ball, but it doesn't matter. No. It doesn't really matter, because each time, it's a bit like, same with my illness. People say, oh, but you're in hospital all the time. You're used to it. I never get used to it. And it's the same with being excluded. Each time hurts like the first.
So how does that comment sit with you? Because
I do hear it a lot. Each time I go to hospital, it's like the first. And in fact, a little bit more, because it's a little bit more PTSD.
Surely there's more, accumulated dread of, I'm missing out on what I want to be doing, or away from the environment I like to be. I'm entering in a very toxic or stressful environment because it's, you know, sensory overload.
Unless they work there, maybe.
Hospital's normally in for pain, so you got to be either in pain or dealing with something that's probably painful or uncomfortable.
It's just a horrible place.
So I don't think you ever get used to it. No. It's not as if you want to go, oh yay, I'm going to hospital now. It's hospital. Like, no, that's never the response.
It never becomes normal.
And to be honest, and I've got to be realistic here, I have to drag Dyan, kicking and screaming.
I have a major aversion
I have to go through so much work to persuade her to say, don't, honey, you really have to.
The only time
this arterial bleed that's coming out right now, I can hold it, but I need to get something on it that only a hospital can provide.
What about when I dislocated my arm? He said, oh, I'll just drive you. And I said, no, I'm not going.
Not going with a
can you just see if
full
you can get
anterior
it in?
dislocation of the humeral
and he's like, I can't get it in.
I need to see an X-ray. I need to see if something's broken.
I'm calling an ambulance.
I'm good with sports medicine, but I also need equipment to see, or test results to see what's going on inside. I don't have X-ray vision eyes.
And they were even surprised. They're like, why are you not screaming?
So I think
autistic.
Autistics do have an aversion perhaps to doing certain new activities or going to certain places.
We just want to flee things. I mean, I know at school, if I was sitting there in, whether it was special ed or just whether I was, you know, privileged to be with the normal people,
you lucky girl, you.
You know, like, if my teacher couldn't answer a question, this is particularly in high school. I had big dreams in high school, and if they couldn't answer my questions, I'd be like, and get up and walk out. Because I'd be like, and then I remember one day, my English teacher bumps into me, because we had lots of these walkways, right? I was at a brand new school. It was a really good design. Anyway, I was doing my walk, because this is what I was allowed to do.
The ADHD walk.
I had the approval to leave class for a maximum 10 minutes.
To walk it off.
To walk it off, because I was a little fiery, but they knew I was a good girl, so they knew that that's what I need to do for my
self-regulate
autism, right? So I go walking. Walk her off. Teacher doesn't know anything about geology, does she? Doesn't even know about the clouds. So here I am marching around, and you know, that's what happened. One of my English teachers, who, you know, I got along well with, because he was a bit of a jokester, so as you can imagine, that's my kind of people. So he's like, hey Di, how you going? I'm like, yeah. He goes, what happened? Geology, okay? She couldn't answer a question about clouds and the hills, and when it hits in a certain question, I can't remember the exact question about it, and she couldn't answer it, and it was just, it's like, she's playing stupid. And he goes, look, just take a deep breath. I'm like, as if to say, like,
so literal.
There's your bloody breath.
Okay, done.
And he goes, look, how long have you been walking? I said, yeah, no, only about a minute. He goes, okay, well, make sure it's your 10 minutes and you go back, okay? Just let it go. Just let it go. In other words, don't go back and ask the same fucking question, because that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. Only because you're my one of my favourite teachers.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thanks for that. Bye.
He wasn't the one that I had the argument about Animal Farm, but anyway.
Okay, Animal Farm is about politics, honey, not about animals. Remember that.
Forget. Don't even go there.
Okay. But that's an interesting point, though. It's that literalness and social engagement and people understanding. It's a bit triggering for you, but this is a problem that some people have. And I think what's occurred, and this is coming back to what this topic is, you've lost a lot of people along the way because of being autistic.
And being autistic.
And being ADHD. or being OCD in your behaviours, or simply not being available because you've got complex and chronic illnesses where you're so tired that you can't participate, or you have different needs.
I do now have a lot of physical disabilities.
Yeah, you're dealing with pain. I mean, every day you wake up with a pain scale. It starts at 7 out of 10, and then it works its way through. Okay, some mornings will be already starting out of 10. It's like, oh shit, where's the day going to go?
Horrible
but that's what you're dealing with. That's the reality.
But people don't want to deal with that.
No, and even
I don't want to deal with that.
No, but even
on
YouTube,
way, society, universe.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it.
Trust me. But even on YouTube and on our channel, trust me, guys, you see not even 1% of the medical dramas, complexities, the pain, the suffering, the treatments, the management.
You see me though.
You see a little bit because you need to have some context. But if it was to do the whole thing, this would be like a show about the doctors. It'd be like a medical practice show only.
And it's like Big Brother.
We don't want that. We are trying to not be medicalised.
This is supposed to be the highlight reel of my life. So think about it that way.
And we do our best to do that.
There's a lot of shit, right, in my videos.
Yeah.
This is my highlight reel.
Yeah. Does that give you context?
So that gives you context. And I'm not even being dramatic here. That's how shitty my life is. But as you see, my happiness is genuine because this is my life.
Absolutely.
And I have to make the most of it.
Yeah.
Even the crappy times, even when I'm in ED and gone through some shit, whatever I've gone through, I laugh with the nurses.
Ding it.
I have to.
We do.
I can't survive.
We put a lot of effort into that to manage the situations. I will even incentivize and reward. Oh, God, this is sad, isn't it? I reward you going.
I get toys.
You get presents and gifts and toys, but
collectible things that I'm collecting.
I'm trying to give positive reinforcement.
I deserve it.
To going through hardship, and if that's what brings a bit of sparkle and joy after going through it, then shit yeah, I'm going to do that, and it gets you through.
Yep.
For the next time to hold on through. Oh, I've got to deal with this shithead doctor or. Far out, these nurses aren't paying attention.
Aren't good with syndromes, guys.
Whatever it might be,
you know what, shrivels, because it's like, oh yeah, I know 22Q.
No, they
and
don't.
You just look at them and you just go.
In Perth. Look, different countries might have different
especially the ED. You know, luckily they don't deal with my heart than the other.
The emergency department.
But the emergency department with my heart, they're like, oh, but you know, at least you're young. I'm like, have you looked at my birth date, number 1?
Yeah, do you understand
it's kind of genetics
life expectancy?
My mum, my nana got the whole, oh my God, you're 20 years younger. Oh my God, you've got a kid that age. Oh my God. Okay, and I get some shit. So basically...
Hold on for a second, because it's very important. People look at Dyan and think, wow, she is only 20 or 30s or whatever it might be.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Because that's the early status. It's the smooth skin, the collagen. It's an impact of that genetic condition. So you get that all the time. Sorry, go.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, and then they don't realise I have 22Q. And then I'm like, could die any day. Sorry, I'm not even being dramatic. That is my life. That is what I face. That is my risk factors. That is my life.
Having resuscitated Dyan myself personally.
Well, you've seen my near-death experience. But basically, you know, it's like, now you've taken me off the topic.
I'm sorry.
What were we talking about too?
Hospitalizations.
Oh yeah, and the guy was like, oh, you've got years, you know, because he's thinking of my age group, and I'm like, I literally said to him, I've got 22Q, because I felt like it was insensitive, and I was in that mode because, you know, you don't mess with your heart, as any of you guys might probably can imagine. You don't mess with your heart, right? So I said to him, I've got 22Q. In other words, I was wanting some like empathy of like, oh shit, you're like me dealing with someone who's 80 or 90.
Yep.
And he wasn't realising it because he's not a 22Q specialist. Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I have to deal with that risk factor alone.
Yeah.
Without even a doctor of that little bit of compassion that the elderly get to say, look, we're going to keep an eye on you now. We're going to be very careful.
On top of the discriminatory factors and assumptions. Oh, look, first of all, you're a female. Now, if you're a male...
That's why
Oh, you're small in size. Oh, if you're a person who's big in size. Oh, no.
But that's why I asked when I had the CT.
I get it.
I asked one of the nurses who was the training nurse. I said, oh, you know, I guess this is mostly done with males. And she said, no, pretty much 50-50.
Yep. That's a cardioanagen to check out the heart
condition. So I thought, I was doing my research.
You were. I saw that subtly. I noticed that. I didn't know that at the time. But I wanted to ask you some questions around this. Well done, you. All of this has an impact. And I want to talk about the social impact, what that does to you emotionally, how that creates dread, how we have to live and why we live like we do. Very isolated.
It's very isolated, and even my children haven't coped with it.
Yeah.
And
well, your parents didn't cope with it from the very start. Sorry,
day
one birth. Ooh,
they didn't
too
cope
hard.
with it. I'm probably to blame for all their problems while I was around because of it, and also like my kids, I haven't been in contact because of it because they're not coping with it, and it hurts because tomorrow it's my son's birthday.
I know. One of our sons' birthday.
One of our sons' birthday. We're all in May.
Yeah.
One's at the end, one's at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a hard day.
Yeah.
Because I can't talk to him on his birthday and wish him happy birthday and tell him how amazing I think he is and really just connect. And that's been taken from me, and I want to be able to sit with my son or be on the phone with my son and say, hey, I just love you so much, because a mother's love is big. To
do those normal things that everybody takes for granted.
And I know that he's going to need that when he's old.
He's
going to need that conversation when he's old, because he doesn't realise right now that these moments he's going to need.
So important, so
and
special.
Being a sick and disabled mum with a life expectancy shortened.
Yeah.
Guys, these are things even more important to me.
Yeah. I think you said a little while ago
in a recent that I'm here.
video, and we were talking about death, and we're talking about also a eulogy. A lot of people wait too late to say the things that are most important, to
they do
acknowledge the value that someone has done and provided to them in their life.
Have.
And they use those words at a funeral, sad to say. It might help the other people around, but it doesn't help the person
I say it to people
missing.
when they're alive, and they always say to me, oh, I know how much you love me. Sure. You know, and I have got, no, listen.
Yeah.
I've done it to your mum. I've done it to my grandfather.
Yeah.
I've done it to every significant person. I can't list them all. I've done it to my Uncle Ray, because my Uncle Ray unalived himself, sadly, because he was a struggling autistic who my family rejected and didn't assist him. And basically, he rung me 2 weeks before, and now looking back, I know why. And we had a real deep and meaningful hour-and-a-half conversation.
Yeah.
And you know what? He was saying a lot of things, and you just got to let people say things, even if it's weird. I know I come across weird when I'm telling someone, oh, this and that about you, and you know, our connection with this, and how I see you, and this is how wonderful I think you are. They might look at you and go, oh, you're just being weird now. It's like, no. You need to hear how I feel about you.
I want to grab onto that point for a moment.
Because that person needs to know before they die.
I don't think people give you time, and I think this is an autistic thing. Look, even I'll put it in also perspective. Even when we go into medical scenarios, and this is why I'm the EPG, the Guardian
to get
for
more time. The government's
it has only just been a recent thing in Australia. Australia has actually brought out, and it's working on with a lot of autistic groups and researchers and psychologists, etc., to create a guideline for how to manage autism in Australia, both at education, society, and in, say, medical and hospital environments. We have struggled with time for you in appointments, because it takes you longer to get to a point. It's easier for you with your ADHD to go off in tangents. You want to tell stories.
I can't think in the moment.
You don't understand sometimes the concept of the questions that the people might be leading to.
A lot of comprehension.
So that's why I'm there as a guardian. But take away from a medical, I just want to use it as an analogy for a moment. In your social engagements, and even just you exploring and saying how you feel to people.
I get things wrong with people.
People don't give you time.
Oh, give them time,
People don't give you the time to just chat, to say how you feel, to really get a connection. And I know society is busy these days, and I think we put too much emphasis on the need and the greed for money.
Autistic values the simple things. That's what I think is our superpower. And I noticed that others focus on just too many other things.
Maybe it's materialistic things
and
or certain goals.
Not saying that to shame people. I love elements of materialism myself. Okay? But I'm just saying, like, an autistic is easier to just connect and to sit with themselves. I know that a lot of us get judged for just sitting by ourselves and just not doing anything. And people think, how do these people do that? And I've been asked this question. And you know what it is? Because we just know how to sit and be content and happy, and we don't need anything.
I think one of your most significant relationships.
We just like to be sometimes, and it's such a nice feeling.
With your Uncle Ray was actually based on that. Is the sitting around and talking hour upon hour about the most sometimes bizarre or weird things, but sometimes it's very interesting and exactly very deep topics. And we miss that in society. We hop on our phones and
we weren't allowed to watch TV with Uncle Ray. It was an hour a day at a certain age. I think it was 2 hours a day at a different age, and one channel only. Because he said, that's rubbish. Materialism, rubbish. He did not have materialism in his life. He got rid of all those things, and he continued to do that. And never even wanted his photo taken. He was just not someone that valued the typical things. He valued the deeper things. And guys, as you can imagine, these people, it's not that they are just aloof. He was a foster care guardian, I guess. He worked in the male juvenile prison system. He gave
back to society, community, and welfare,
a lot of care, because he knew what was important
and impact
in life. Yes, and he would sit and he would just read book after book after book after book. So he was very much, he lived, even though his life, 39, it's short.
A lot of that philosophy has come out onto you.
He knew so much. He was learning. In his 39 years, he learned more than an 80-year-old probably.
But a lot of your personality, I think,
just rotted watching TV.
Molded around that.
Absolutely.
It's very similar. But that's in stark contrast.
I am my Uncle Ray's niece, for sure.
In today's society,
twins,
though, and I come back to that time and aspect of people on their mobile
phones.
That's why
his son and I were so close.
Yeah, it's such a stark contrast. And again, you miss out. You're not getting fulfilled by having those conversations. You don't get to have that slow down, have that connect with people. And to be honest,
I had that connection with his son Dylan.
Yeah.
When I was young, early 20s, and he's definitely autistic.
Yeah.
Highly intelligent, like his father. Like I'm talking, my Uncle Ray. He would have been on the genius scale.
Yes,
and he was just, as you can imagine, to an autistic girl who had so many questions about everything.
So many questions.
And facts, and I wanted to know so much knowledge. He was my go-to person.
Yeah.
But we also would do that not thinking, not doing thing together.
Yep.
We would sit on the couch and the music would be playing in the background, and sometimes we would just look at each other and
just vibing together,
And we just was and that's such a bonding experience, and people don't get it, and I think it's because that's how autistics bond.
And I think you've identified.
We don't need to be speaking.
No, but you've just identified that what works for you is when you are with your cohort of other people who are like you. Autistics,
don't have to be speaking.
Neurodivergence, it's relatable, and I think over the time,
because you can be yourself.
You take away just from the autism or the ADHD side, even in the chronic illness, when you're with people who've got disabilities, they've also got the shared experience. They know what it's like to go to a freaking hospital. They know what it's like to miss out on being able to attend and participate in society. Yeah.
This is my problem, and I don't blame them, so don't take it this way. I find that they're very depressed. Whether they are like the carer or the actual patient for the physical side of things, they're all depressed.
Yeah.
And I think you and I have both found it hard.
Oh, we've been through that.
Because you don't blame them, because it's a real hard lifestyle for carer and for the patient. But our way of coping, and I know my way of coping, is trying to keep as much normality and as much funny banter and lightheartedness as possible, because you just don't know when the last day is the last day.
I'm going to mention something there, and there's also a self-fulfilling prophecy or a cycle of creation that goes with this.
Yeah.
I was outside this morning having to take something. Strawberries over here. Strawberry safe. It's okay. It's
sorry.
Strawberries here. I went outside to drop something off downstairs, and I noticed another participant in the building, and I've seen this person around a bit. And they look incredibly lonely, incredibly isolated, incredibly sad. But then in reflection, I also then reflect upon certain behaviours that this participant does. And sometimes you think, is this for attention? Is this for simply sheer frustration of reaction to what they're going through because of the isolation? This whole cycle becomes self-perpetuating, because people don't meet them at their level. People aren't making them inclusive.
Yeah, they don't accept them for who they are.
And then they do behaviours because they're angry or hurt or upset or frustrated or wanting attention. And then it becomes, Oh, that's a bad person.
Please,
I want to hear that.
So I just want to say that, like, I do not condone violence at all. But I'm going to work once again with the extremes here. Let's do the Google search situation.
Okay, yeah, good old Googles.
It's going to be extreme. Everything you look up is always more extreme.
Yeah.
In the sense of images, that's what I'm relating to.
Sure.
So if you look up, you know, like
worst case scenarios,
this skin disease, you'll get the worst pictures. You never get like the normal ones. Okay, so I'm going to give you the worst example. In psychology, guys, we are animals. We are Homo sapiens, and we're animals. And when you reject an animal enough and abuse them enough, what does a dog do?
Yeah.
They attack. They get to that automatic nervous system protection. Of fight.
Yep.
They are actually in self-protection mode.
Yep.
Weird, right? And this includes people that, like what happened in Sydney.
Yeah.
That includes that. It's a cause and effect. I'm not justifying absolutely anything, but we are animals and there is a cause and effect. If you harm a person enough, torment them enough, okay, exclude them enough, make them feel crap enough, abuse them, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, 100%. Psychological, philosophical, religion.
Go and spend 6 hours
financial
in an
abuse,
ED department near you and see how people are going and how they start behaving and when they're dealing with pain and frustration.
It is a response to the crap of society, and I'm sorry, but we are all responsible for that in a tiny way. Not you specifically and me specifically. Personally
but the greater whole,
but all of us, like a little tiny little speck, are responsible for that. Because when we meet people that aren't bad people, they are very, like, I guess they have become mentally unstable because of the repetition. Like I said, doesn't matter how many times you get rejected. Doesn't mean you just go, yeah, I'm used to rejection.
Absolutely.
That's bullshit. So if anyone ever life coaches you, which should only be goal making anyway, should never be psychology. Should never be psychology. It's actually illegal. But basically, if someone says you shouldn't feel anything when all these negative emotions happen, just run, okay? Because you will end up mentally unwell. And not even realise it very quickly. Because if you don't feel and you don't speak to people on how you're feeling, you will get to become that person eventually. No shit. Or you'll become an alcoholic, a druggie.
Well, if you suppress it comes and internalizes and goes out somewhere else, doesn't it?
It's like something, and I'm telling you, psychology here, it will show in your life in some really toxic way that literally, like you say, gambling, lots of bad things.
But coming back to
or like the Sydney event. Okay, people go there because they are pushed to the brink. It's not a excuse.
I'm in a unique position, Dyan, because I'm not only your carer, but I'm also a family member as far as being your partner of over
33 years.
But I've also been very observant because I've been so often the case of having to sit around, sitting in the background, sitting and observing. I mean, I cut thousands of hours in hospitals, wards, clinics, EDs. And sometimes it's just listening. Sometimes it's listening to the behaviours and interactions of the nurses' staff, the doctor staff, the medical teams in other cubicles or around the place, or even just in disability spaces. And you gain a lot of observations about how people with disability are truly treated, the lack of respect, the lack of tolerance or patience or understanding in society.
How you treat people is how they're going to treat you back.
It's almost funny where some people who've got, this person over here, I've got a headache today. It's like, oh, you poor thing, you should have a couple of Panadol, you should go home and rest. But you who start off with the day with intense migraines and intense levels, because you've been doing it, as you said, for so long, it's a bit like, you're used to hospitals. Well, you should be used to pain, or you should be used to your disability now.
Well, when they hear about the syndrome, they think, oh yeah, she's used to all of this, it's all good. No, it's still like the first time.
But the other part to this is, and apart from what I'm seeing and observing, it's also dealing with the systems, dealing with the health department or the hospitals, or dealing with the NDS and the disability sector.
Think about this.
It's made me, a very sane person,
how many people
become depressed and totally insane as well, because seriously, it drives sane people.
But look at the people who end up
so broken, so fucked. Sorry.
The people that end up with mental health issues. We've overheard how many times we've heard nurses say, "Oh, for goodness sake, you know, we've got other things we need to get done," and they're telling these people off who are having a mental breakdown. fuck you.
Yeah.
Get out of the fucking job.
Yeah.
Okay? Because just being a human being, you don't speak to a person like that. Okay?
Human.
Because that
Humanness
person has obviously been harmed by somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's why they're feeling that way. And you are totally being an absolute dumbass, selfish little prick or
we
bitch,
have questions.
and you're there for the money.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when someone is angry, listen.
We've questioned over a few videos at times.
Something's wrong.
Why certain people get into the caring profession, for example, nursing, healthcare, support workers. Because seriously, when you see them in real life, it's like, one, you're not suitable, your personality is not suitable. But the behaviours that you're doing is actually detrimental. Do no harm.
Do no bloody harm.
But that conveys also disability.
Get the fuck out of the jobs.
But
Get out.
I just want to put that into perspective because it shows what you're dealing with day by day.
And you do
why you feel like you're feeling.
People are like that.
And then let's come back to our original topic.
Yeah.
Isolation, how people treat you, the lack of understanding of what you're daily dealing with. Or they go, geez, they think, well, you're too much. You're talking about all these negative things. It's like, well, that's what my life or my experience is. I don't want to talk about it, but to talk about the weather seems a little bit, I don't know, ridiculous.
The way it is. I can't force life to engage with me. I'm forcing my way to engage in a great way with the life, with the world. Yeah. But the fact is, nobody likes people with disability.
No.
And I'm sorry, people that don't have a disability, it's just fucking true. There's a small percentage of you that absolutely don't mind, but there's a large fucking percent who don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Yeah. And look, I'm also going to put out this from a perspective that's not you as the patient or participant,
it's not
but also
me, my personality.
I'm also going to say from the carer or the family member. I've seen a lot of family members or even carers who do get burnt out. Okay, and it's a profession with respect that does take a lot, but then don't turn it on to the participant, onto the vulnerable person or the person with illness or disability, and blame them. So you can walk away, you can have a respite, you can have time out, you can tag team, you can get someone else to take over. But those people can't put the disability or the illness on a shelf and go, well, I'm just going to ignore it or get away from that for a week and go, hey, I'm having a holiday now. I just wanted to say that because I do see a lot of carers who do get burnt out and say that. Yeah, we'll always,
I would never resent him for saying,
about it.
I'm going to just walk away.
Yep.
I would never resent that because if I had a choice, I'm telling you guys, like what he said, you don't see what's off camera. I would walk away.
Now, there's also another caveat to that.
I wouldn't resent him.
I know, for example, in the NDS, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, in the 5 or more years that we've now been on this system, one of the very first things of entering into the system, I said at the beginning, I need to make sure that there is respite in this, so that I can be the best me that I can be for Dyan, that I can be healthy for Dyan, so that I can be mentally and physically well, to be able to cope with the stresses. And look, there's intense medical PTSD dealing with life and death situations, let alone just the simple...
the carers as well.
Caring is 24/7. I don't get a break.
It's a carer PTSD.
You know, if Dyan can't get to sleep till 3 o'clock, I'm not getting to sleep till 3 o'clock. If she only wakes up at 4:30 having an hour and a half sleep, I'm only getting an hour and a half sleep. But there's a perspective to that.
And a lot of people come up with smart ass things like, just go to the other bed, just go to sleep. You know, you shouldn't have to put up with that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't always have to put up with that, and hasn't done for many years because he's had to go to work the next day.
Absolutely.
But now, even now, he doesn't have to. But the fact is, when you're in the same household, it does affect you.
So that has the impact on our families and kids and where parents come from.
Of course, it would have impacted the kids.
But they've got off easy. They're not here. They're not around. They're not doing it.
Well, they didn't really get off easy because they also didn't ask for a disabled mum.
Absolutely.
And a child looks at their parents as being superhuman.
Correct.
So it's
and
actually
we put our
been
children
a
first.
lot of...
We always did.
Like, it causes your children trauma. It causes your children possibly a PTSD.
Yep.
So we must honour that as well as for carers who are the partners. Because children don't have the coping skills too of an adult. And we must respect that it's not just siblings that have to go through things with their sibling who's disabled, but it's
I had to step up as the other parent to fill in the gaps that are missing.
Or maybe the disabled dad's children.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. But like I said, I had to step up to be more.
But we've pushed them to live a normal life now.
Bingo.
That's what we've done.
So we have no expectations.
Even when they lived at home both till 24, right?
Yeah.
We didn't say to them, we want you to look after mum and do it. We didn't want that to be their role caring, ever. Not even in the future. No. It would be only if they wanted to. Yeah. But that's not something we expect or would ask of them. No. It's just how we are as parents.
I want to put that out there so that people don't... And look, it might be a fair question. If in some households I've seen it happen, and sometimes the children from as young as 8 or 10 become and have the burden of dealing with disability and literally being that actualized parent. We have not done that in our household at any time.
No, we have avoided it at all.
I have to actually say it's to your detriment, because you have actually sucked it up, and literally once you put them off to school, for example, you would then crash during the middle of the day to recover, and as soon as the school bell goes, you're back up again and
then at 2 o'clock I'd have the alarm set, I'd get up, I'd shower, pick them up and act like nothing's happening.
Yeah. So I just want to put that, because that creates an important perspective of what you've done and how you've done it and how we've lived. But there's also no excuse for parents, family, siblings, who again have had no expectations upon them, to abandon you along the way and not be part of it.
Because I didn't be there for you at my struggle until they became adults. Okay, and even not straight away when they became adults, but a little bit after. Yeah. Because unless there was things that they are going to see, because we all live together, right? Yeah. But I'm just sad that so many times I've spent crying in my bathroom because I'm in so much pain. Yeah. And I'm about to take them to the zoo, or I just wanted to be that normal parent for my children. Absolutely. And so that's what I pretended to be, but it was to my detriment, because when I showed them my disability and didn't hide it, it was harder for them, I think. And maybe being an autistic and not knowing how to discuss it with them in the moment also went to my detriment, and probably caused them more trauma, because there's all this going on and I don't know what to say. No. So, and sadly, guys, and I've learnt this through watching friends lose their mums, because, you know, we're 50. A lot of my school friends are losing mums and dads and things like that, right? So when I'm watching that, I feel sad, because I didn't have a mum that rushed over to me when I had my first baby, who rushed over to do some washing for me, or to just keep an eye on how things are going as me as a new mum. I never had that. No. I did it alone, and I did it alone miles and miles away from all of our family for the first child. And the second child, your mum was just an absolute angel.
Was a pseudo mum for you, effectively.
Correct. Yeah. And she stepped up, and it wasn't like, guys, I didn't have massive amounts of babysitting, but I had enough for the essentials. Do you know what I mean? You know those times when you're absolutely exhausted and you need a break.
With illnesses and stuff themselves, and cancer.
But I didn't have a mum fussing over me. And I remember going shops and having, you know, normally I can only go shopping with one of my children, and then sitting in the trolley and just watching other mums with their mum, just loving being shopping with them and their grandbaby, and me just literally holding back the tears in a shopping centre going, I just never got that, guys. I just never got that. So I had to be a really strong mum as an autistic mum
that you've missed out of
and do it alone. And it was only because of your mum. And get this, because I was studying, I had a home daycarer who we just bonded like this. She was like a big sister to me.
Godsend,
and she was an absolute godsend to me and my children, and she loved my children like her own, because they are awesome children. But basically, that's, if it wasn't for those women, I don't know how I would have survived.
Yeah. Other people outside you. And look, you do say, I totally understand why, that you're an orphan, because you have been abandoned by both
I don't have family.
Sets of parents.
They did not take care of me at any phase, because the divorce, as soon as that happened, my life was completely different from then on. It never went back.
They divorced you.
I've got two sisters that they both had one daughter each. Who's replaced me? They don't need me. And that basically is what happened. And I don't even think they've realised that.
No.
It's just
But that's another ramification of, because you're complex with disabilities, with autism,
too hard.
You're seen as too hard, too much work, too much effort.
My nana said you were a difficult child.
Yeah.
And see, this is, once again, like I've said in another podcast,
not a good thing to say.
My grandmother comes from great wealth, and my grandmother had, you know, nannies and people cleaning the house,
slaves,
people to
servants, domestic aids.
And but in all fairness, in ancestry, when you look at things, her mum died when she was 10 of a brain tumour. She never had a mum. My pa's mum stepped up. Granny Kettle was amazing.
Yeah.
She had 13 kids and she took her in. And then same with, my mum she's just not, my mum's suffering too much pain. I can just see, every time I look at my mother's eyes, I see pain.
Right.
And I could never save her, and I tried. And
you tried to.
I don't know what that pain is. She has never really let it out, and I feel sorry for her. And I always will, but that's why she couldn't be my mum. She couldn't be present, she couldn't be there for me. And I guess maybe her mum wasn't for her because of her mum not having a mum. So this could be generational trauma.
I think there's generational trauma.
But I was present for my children, and I'm talking, I went overboard being present to the point where I spoiled them, which is to my detriment now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think over the years, and I've seen this in the community of complex or chronic illnesses, and there's like a 10-year mark, and as the patients, those with disabilities and particularly fatiguing illnesses, where they are checked out of life, where they are stuck in their bed, in their bedroom, let alone their house. And there's degrees, even when we talk about ME/CFS, there's ME/CFS, there's mild, there's moderate, there's severe, there's very severe.
Yeah, it's like that.
And when you get to that very severe level, it's literally, you're totally bedbound, you're not getting out of that.
And we don't realise we're severe. Because, I had a comment before, and I hope it's, a genuine comment, and I want to honour that comment. And I do want to, the comment was, I can't wait to see you going out and about. And I was like, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. It's always a daily goal.
Oh, absolutely.
But many days I can't do it.
We're actually doing, and I must put this out there, we're doing exceptionally well in the scale of 33 years that you've had ME/CFS. As long as I've known you, literally you got it just as I've met you.
I think that mentally I've handled it very well.
You have had peaks and troughs.
17.
You have been at points where you have been severe and very severe. I mean, literally
and I've had
years.
Mild points where I've absolutely loved
not leaving the bedroom. That's why Dyan got rickets, the lowest level of vitamin D seen by a GP
the doctor,
in Australia.
Which was my local doctor at the time, not my regular doctor. She goes, I haven't seen this in Australia ever. Yeah. Rickets. You've got rickets. And I was like,
yeah, because I haven't been out of my bed for 2 years, dude. So I don't see the sun. What is the sun? I'm a vampire.
This was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was, I don't know, maybe I got a small dose of it somewhere. I don't know, but I was so sick. But at the same time, we're in a shitty rental, and in Australia at that time, and in that area, I think it was a drug house.
It was.
And we were suffering side effects like no tomorrow. And me,
the infusion of drugs,
certain drugs make me go a bit crazy because of my 22q.
Yep.
So I'm not kidding. I can't take psychotropic drugs.
Psychotropic drugs.
If I take them, which some antidepressants are that, I literally makes me psycho.
Yeah, it does.
I admit it myself. I'm like, that was a trip.
Definitely.
I was an asshole.
What I was saying
because it's medication.
What I was saying with the 10-year sort of mark, and this is internationally, okay? So many patients and participants that I've seen and talked to, and I've been engaging with for at least over 10 years myself on social media. A lot of them get to a point where they are abandoned by their partners. I mean, it'd be very rare for a female with ME/CFS to be in a relationship and have a. You'd be lucky if it's 5%. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, you're lucky if it's that, really.
It's quite common too, but they've lost their parents or their siblings or their children in that mix. That's even a high.
And so children.
Exponentially.
A lot of us lose our children because of it. But you know what?
So common.
Like, there's...
Take your time.
I could be upsetting, sorry. I don't...
That's okay, and we'll be surprised.
Guys, sorry, my bowels has been really bad, and...
She's at high risk for seizures, which is
I've been having a few little...
Yeah, absolute seizures.
Glitches in my matrix.
In the matrix, yes.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
The computer's rebooting at the moment.
But what were you just saying? Because there was something I was going to say
Got off. Even I'm now having a glitch because I worry about you. My brain goes into another mode and starts thinking about it. It does. It's like we can't help that at the end of the time. What were we talking about? Shake it off, Matt. It's okay. Let's keep moving on. So I was talking about the 10-year effect and the impact and the loss that occurs the longer that you're all sick with people, losing what's around. And that's what you've noticed. I've seen this firsthand for you. I've also seen a lot of your long-term friends, because you still have a lot of long-term friends that you're connected to on Facebook, who have said to me many
Uni
times,
friends, school friends.
Oh, look, I'm going to plan to catch up. I'm going to come over and we're going to catch up. And it never eventuates.
Because they still love me and I still love them, but they don't go that step. Their life is so...
Yeah. But you're abandoned. You don't have... And
because,
proximity,
you know,
I'm going to say this.
They didn't get sick. I got sick.
Proximity, being close to somebody, it's like it gives off the vibes. You need to be within a metre of someone else.
It's a psychology thing.
It is.
So social distancing is actually quite bad for your health.
Yeah.
Now, not for strangers. Hey, everyone.
No.
Keep social distancing permanent.
Okay. Stand back at a distance.
But basically, with your loved ones, always try and stand a metre apart minimum.
Yeah.
Because a proximity, there is actually a chemical released. It's a psychology fact.
Like serotonin effect.
Okay, and it's just necessary for bonding. So please just close proximity, contact even, like, you know, whether it's a hug or whether it's like bumping just shoulders or just holding hands, or depends on the relationship type. I mean, you're not going to hold your hands if you're a grown-up with your mum.
No, but at the same time with autistics, it's a thing that you don't like to have people hugging you or shaking hands.
It depends on where I'm at with my senses. So if my senses aren't overloaded, then I can handle more, but if my senses are overloaded, it's like you're too close.
But the point I'm saying this is, when you have people who say that I'm going to do these actions, but then they don't perform them, you're abandoned, you're let down. When you don't actually have, you do, and you make a lot of excuses. But when you don't have it happen,
isn't it fair though? Because
you're missing out.
The fact is, it's not their fault that my life stopped.
Not your fault either. You're making excuses. Friends are people who are actually in your life. Family.
It's just hard when you know they're not bad people, isn't it?
No.
Sort of see
and people mean well,
action,
and they say the sentiments.
Action,
but I think mentally, what it hurts more is when those sentiments aren't actually actualized and things put into action and done and performed. Then that hurts more, and you self-consume it. You take it on, and you go, "Oh, I'll give excuses."
Because I've never had a friend.
So first of all, you're missing out, and then you still have that punishment
because I've never really had a friend.
And then it becomes normalized. Because
I've never really had a friend. When you're autistic, you have friends that, yes, they genuinely love you and you love them. Absolutely. There's no fakeness in it. I'm not talking about fakeness. I'm talking about no friend. When I say that, means when you are working with them, going to school with them, you are so close. But as soon as that is over, nothing stays. And we know it's us.
Yeah.
We don't text back. We don't know how to initiate. We don't want as much social contact as they do. Yeah. And that's not fair on them. It's just the way we are.
Can't participate because you're sick and
I get something wrong. I miss something. You know, they might be silent because they're having something go on and I don't ask them if you're okay. I am autistic. I don't have good social skills.
We have to actually do a lot of social stories. We have to actually analyse a lot of interactions predictably, but also I have to stand back from the side and look in and give Dyan feedback to say, well, when that person said that, they actually were being sarcastic. I know you missed it at the time, and that was actually being rude or being an aggressive thing. And what they were trying to do is they were trying to wrap up and trying to get away.
Yeah.
And you have that struggle, even trying to wrap up conversations. It's like, the doctor's standing up. Why is the doctor standing up? It means that the consult's finished and we need to leave.
It took me a long time to learn that.
But these are the nuances that Dyan doesn't get and understand.
Change that system. Tell your doctor. Don't just stand up, dude. There's autistics out there that don't know what the hell that means.
But that means it is helpful when you're around other people who understand you, your condition, what you need, so that they can engage with you at that level and not do behaviours that you're meant to read their minds, assumptive behaviours.
Oh, I don't know how many times it's like, you knew what I was trying to get at, or you knew how I was feeling, you knew. And I'm just like...
She has no idea. And I'm just being honest, she doesn't. That's not her fault. She's autistic.
And that friend, I mean, I don't care, because if someone's that impatient with me, then I have to accept that, right? But the fact is, I wouldn't want to be friends with someone that doesn't have compassion for people that, you know, are saying, no, like, I'm not lying. I genuinely miss that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry this is the sad chat today.
It is a very sad chat. Why are you making me cry a lot?
Sorry. It's not my fault, but it is a topic which it's relevant because...
It's just hurting right now because...
It's hurting right now, yeah.
You know, I'm not going to have a birthday party again.
When was the last time you actually had a birthday
21.
party?
21.
You're about to turn 50.
21.
21. Okay.
I had an 18th, the 21st, and I had about 3 birthdays as a child.
When was the last time you were given a birthday present from someone that wasn't me? A Christmas present from someone that wasn't me? A Mother's Day?
Not since I was in contact with my family in 2012.
12 years ago, okay. So a lot of the inputs, a lot of those actions that represent kindness or love.
It's not about the gift, it's about the thought. It's about the fact that you...
Even a card. Even picking up my phone or sending a message or an email to say, hey, I remember you, I love
you. Just the
you.
steps it takes for someone to show you that your birthday is a birthday. I'm not going to get that.
I find that sad. I do. And I don't think Dyan deserves that. I think she's a lovely person.
There's a lot of autistics that get this.
I see a lot of autistics that get that, and I also see a lot of people with complex long-term illnesses that become very isolated by society, and then they do behaviours that they get judged for as well.
Yeah, because then we get a bit bitey if someone's like around us and treats us certain ways, and it's like, yeah, I might get a bit bitey because at the end of the day, you have no idea, like on a regular basis, how mistreated, apart from this exclusion and just being ignored, yeah, that hurts a ton. But I also get a lot of real negative feedback because of who I am. I've even watched when I just come through a seizure after a code blue, and I couldn't even talk yet after a seizure, and I'm watching my partner be told by a nurse, gee, most don't stay. Why have you stayed? Yeah, she was a rude bitch, and it's totally inappropriate, and she was admonished because of that officially. Straight away I felt the same way I felt when my mum and my nana were just like, all I heard again was Nana saying, you're a difficult child. And then I heard my mum saying, I don't want to be your mum. So you hear those things, they're recycling in your head. When you have OCD, these things actually cycle around and keep coming back as constant reminders of why I'm not good enough, why. And then I also make excuses for people when they don't step up and do the things that they should do as part of a friendship or a normal interaction. Before we finish off, we try and obviously cope so well with all of this. We have an incredibly strong determination, very positive attribute. I don't know how. Well, it's part of the personality. I guess you just got to keep moving forward, because you know what? One step at a time. Some days are harder than others. The day I got my diagnosis and realised that my life could be gone any day now, I said to you, didn't I? I said, I'm not going to waste it. No, I wasn't going to waste it. And guys, you don't go out making outlandish plans and things. It's not like the movies, but I'll tell you this. The bucket list. You don't waste much time on this kind of crap. No, because we don't have, look, again. Because I don't have the time to waste. We don't have the money to do outlandish. We're not exactly about to hop on a plane and go to Disneyland. Look, Dawn would love to. She would love to actually have that dream to do things, but all that, you know, this is right. It just doesn't happen like people go, well, where's all your money? You know what? I've worked hard for over 25 years straight. Sorry, stop for a second. I've worked hard for 25 years straight. All of our finances have gone into really medications, procedures, treatment, or me not being able to work, not having additional income. So it's been a single income supporting 4 of us along the way. It has been a struggle. And we did really good, but people still look at us. I feel like judgment. I know my family look at me as like, oh my gosh, you just couldn't get your shit together. And I'm thinking, no, I actually over-succeeded as a 22Qer. Because most 22Q people, 1 in 5 are in a relationship and get married and have children. If you're lucky. If you're lucky. And are independent from their parents. Yeah. You're welcome, but yet I'm an overachiever, 100%. But I'm seen as a failure. Well, that's why 76% of autistics unfortunately can't sustain and hold down a full-time job.
Okay.
I understand.
They're not able to work
I
in
would
the
have probably
workforce.
bounced
There's
job
no
to job to job if I was physically well.
or accommodations for them.
Because people are just mean,
Yeah.
horrible, spiteful, have no patience, don't give a shit about autism and autistics and our experience and our struggles.
Bingo. The last little bit, sometimes we
we're always the scapegoat.
We try replacement. I'll try and supplement the things that I've missed out upon. So even if it's a Mother's Day, I'll buy a Mother's Day card and a gift and a present. Sometimes it actually hurts more, I feel.
Yeah, I don't like it.
A bit like a birthday.
Sorry,
but it's like if I was to try and
I don't like it because it's like
it's a memory.
I miss the cards of like, you know,
where it's genuinely from.
Where it's like, I love you, mummy, and they'll say something little quirky, either of them in the card, and you just go, that's it.
That's the meaningful
all
part.
I want.
Yeah, from
that's
the person.
The bit. That's
that counts.
the bit that makes me feel like, oh, this is the card they chose. Like, that's it for me. Yeah. That's it.
And look,
those words in their little writing.
100%.
Just like when you get their little pictures when they're coming from preschool and you're so proud of this absolute of crap. Yeah. You know?
But it's on the fridge.
My kid did that.
That's it. Framed.
I don't care what it looks like.
But even
that's
coming
my
from
baby.
You've come from
Isn't
a family
awesome,
of dysfunction.
Picasso?
And look, it'll be lovely to have parents or grandparents in your life. But the reality is multiple members of your family have been ostracized, have been punished,
and they're all
because
dead.
they've all had
the same
condition.
And you know what?
Autism, ADHD, or genetically.
There's studies done that if you are left out of your family, that your life is shortened by, I think, 10 years. And there's even other studies showing other things. You can look it up yourself.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you this now. I have 3 uncles beneath the ground, and I goddamn know for sure that it was due to lack of support from my family, just the same as I'm receiving.
The lifespans for autistics is commonly 20 years less than the general population.
They all died in
30s,
30s and 50s.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. That is not normal.
Yeah.
And for 5 children to lose 3 of them is not normal.
Yeah. The other part of trying to manage these situations, it's pretty hard to avoid things that are triggering. So when you see Mother's Day spread over every TV advert and in the shops, or Christmas,
autism?
Yeah, please.
Apart from the fact that 1 in 4 girls suffer SA, but you know what? 70% of adult autistic women are ARD. How about that?
Yep.
We need to do better.
We absolutely
need to do better. We need to get things sorted. We need to get more protection for autistics in every social setting, not just medical settings, government.
And I've got to put this into context. I think it's getting better for the children coming through now. There's a lot better identification system. But for those who are late diagnosed or who have slipped underneath the radar,
or 70s child,
people think that autism stops at 18 and you can get on with it and be by yourself and manage.
Doesn't get
No, those same challenges are still here today.
Correct.
In fact, to be honest, your peers keep growing, you become stagnated or even
and
regress,
it's really weird
sadly.
Because
that's a known status.
You know, you look at them and then you start to look at them as a big sister or a big brother, and you go, oh my gosh, like I'm really, like they're just, it's really hard.
You've seen them become more
really
capable, competent
and
in
I'm
life
like,
and society,
oh my gosh, like
living.
I'm still down here, and I think it's uncomfortable for them too.
Sure.
And it's really hard because the love is there.
You're not growing
the
together.
The connection that was there, you know, when you make friends with certain people, it is forever, that connection. But there's, you know, something always in the way. And if I was to explain how I experience connecting to others, yes, there's something there.
Absolutely.
It's an invisible shield.
No,
and people, you guys on the other side of me that have all experienced this, can't connect with me or frustrated at me, or even if they're all angry at me, that's what they're angry at, this damn shield. And so am I. I've got this shield on my side too.
100%. I was saying that there's certain things that are becoming triggering, and look, seasonally, you know, Christmas you can't avoid because it's in the shops.
Mother's Day, my birthday's coming up, and 50th.
These are societal, social engagements. This is when you expect family to come together to do the meals, to do gift sharing, to do activities. And I can't
even do my own kids' birthdays, which I would love to do, because even when they're adults, you still want to be part of whatever they're doing.
Because you gave birth to them. They were part of our entire life. They were our everything for about 24 years.
It's a very special thing for a mum. Like, the whole day, you wake up and the whole day, all you think about is just this wow.
So have a bit of understanding, I guess, and that's what I'm trying to ask for, is acceptance and understanding that these things are triggering. It's not just a matter of saying, oh, look, and even as a response, and you might say this in the comments, look, do something nice for yourself on the day. It's pretty hard. You know,
I'm going to be sad and depressed,
you
and that's just how it's going to be
make
on
up
those
for
days.
It. It's just,
you can't
you've got to
change
go
it.
through it.
It's life.
Yeah.
It's reality.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but all this other stuff is just bullshit.
Yeah.
And if you do get over this stuff, then you are actually blocking off feelings, which include the good ones.
Yeah.
You're turning into someone that's either numb. Why would you want to do that? Or you're going to turn yourself into a narcissist.
Yeah.
Because you're going to start to not care about anything, and that is not good either.
Yeah.
It's not good either.
So challenging.
So, you know, I have to feel these feelings.
Yeah.
I have to go through this month with these challenges, and I have to face them.
Absolutely. Guys, I really appreciate your time in joining us. As with each and every video, we have a range of different topics. This is more of a podcast.
And I hope this is validating for some of you out there that maybe are in my position or in Sir's position.
Maybe it helps to educate, to inform as to what it's like, what you're going through, what you miss out on.
Yeah.
And to help remember when you say those comments, oh, look, I'm going to try and catch up. Don't say it if you don't mean it, because that hurts even more.
Yeah.
Remember what's been missed out upon for people like this through those special occasions when you're around them. How can you make it more inclusive for people with disability or complex or chronic or rare diseases? Don't challenge them when they've got their own daily struggles.
You just have to go to their level. It's a bit like, you know, people do it for cancer, and I'm not discriminating. I'm not saying that that's like, you know, screw you cancer people. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is people do it for cancer, but they don't do it for other types of health issues that are just as severe.
Absolutely.
Okay? And when you talking about 85% of cancer people survive, and the 15% have that major challenge of possibly facing death or facing death. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's awful, but guess what? There's a lot of us out there with many risk factors. There's people with one of my conditions that died in her 20s. I mean, there's so many risk factors. We should get the same support, but we're not.
No, it's not as well known.
Okay, so I validate you if you're not getting support, because the older you get, the less support you get. So when I talk about, and I know I've been picked on this before, about comparing children with adults, yes, I understand that children need more supports because they are a child, right? Developmentally, there's a lot of things going on.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that you just ignore adults going through
It doesn't stop at
trauma.
18.
Trauma in medical continues. It's not any easier for us. Yes, we have more coping skills. We have a toolbox. We have like ways of communicating that maybe the child doesn't. But it doesn't mean we're not going through it.
It eventually does wear you down where it gets
and we're getting closer to the end of it, which means that's not the end of as if like you got the flu and you're going to the end of the flu.
No.
The end of it is not a good thing.
No.
So, you know, you've got those worries and concerns. Definitely. You know, I have to be worried about my partner and my children if I'm gone.
Yeah.
I worry all the time about that. Not about myself, about the people that I leave behind.
Well, these are tremendous insights, and I do hope it helps to inform, to educate, and to advocate for those who've got disabilities or even things simply like autism, ADHD. To understand
doesn't matter what
what's
you've
going
got,
on.
It's your struggle, and if it
sharing
affects your
of
life,
experience, and that's what we're trying to do on our channel. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below if any of it resonates or relates, whether it's hit a nerve, whether you agree or disagree. Give us a thumbs up for the effort and the sharing, because it's an emotional.
And even a party would be difficult for me, so then there's that thing too. Yeah. I know as a kid, birthday parties are very hard for me being autistic, but
it's also predictability.
There's ways you can do that.
We can't predict every day. We might plan something for a week's time, and you might be in hospital suddenly that day, or be bound up in on a toilet, or in a migraine, or having shit me. Each day I take as it comes. So that's my schedule.
So let's just hope that my birthday is just one of my comfortable days. That's all I'm asking for at this point.
And that's a very positive outlook
because I'm going to be dealing with like this pain.
Yeah.
So you know, I will do all of my toolbox crap.
Well, thank you for sharing, Don. I appreciate the insights, and I hope it helps other people genuinely out there to understand what we do and how we manage that. If you feel
validated, I'm really glad.
Yeah,
because you deserve to be, because this is a real thing and no one talks about it.
Definitely. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell. Please share our channel with others who might benefit from this. Share the story.
Correct.
Because it will help if we have a conversation. And the conversation
real,
starts with by being
honest,
raw,
no
real,
bullshit.
and being honest. Thanks, guys. See you again soon.
Bye.